Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Gold Rush Parker tells Fred what he is doing wrong. As Fred Lewis continues to struggle with his gold goals this season on Gold Rush, Parker Schnibble finally showed up to offer some advice. Parker and Tony Beats are both extremely successful, so it seems good when they offer advice. However, when Parker told Fred what he was doing wrong, it didn't really set well. Here is what went down in the most recent episode of Gold Rush between Parker and Fred. Parker offers Fred advice on Gold Rush. When Parker Schnibble offers some advice to someone about gold mining, that person should listen. No one on the show has been as successful as Parker, who has become a legitimate gold miner, respected even outside the realm of reality television. He is so good at his job now that some fans think Parker is working his way out of Gold Rush. This week, Parker went to visit former military medic Fred Lewis and offer him some advice on what he is doing wrong. Fred has remained frustrated this season, saying that if he doesn't hit his goal, it is likely finished for him and his team in the future of the gold mining industry. Parker pointed out the biggest problems with Fred's setup was his screens. When Parker showed up, he told him that the screens were full of holes in the sluice box. Parker pointed at the big rocks and said, "These big rocks, they aren't supposed to be here." Before Parker arrived at Fred's camp, the former military man said that Parker was rude the last time they met up and told him off. That isn't exactly what happened, as when they met last. Fred was looking for land to mine and Parker just told him it was hard to find. This likely led to his frustration at seeing his Gold Rush star again and getting critical advice. Fred Lewis seems to have thin skin on Gold Rush. It seems weird that Fred would be so thin-skinned when it comes to taking advice from someone like Parker on Gold Rush. Recently, the Clayton brothers went to Fred for help. He talked down to them and his crew dismissed them, pointing out everything they were doing wrong. Fred was also harsh to his own stepson, who works on his crew. Fred pointed out things he felt he was doing wrong. With Fred willing to point the finger at everyone else, someone like Parker offering up some advice shouldn't seem to push him into the wrong way of thinking. Of course, this is reality television. That means drama needs to exist on Gold Rush. There is a chance it wasn't as bad as the episode made it look in the end. The midday Alaskan sun blazed over the sprawling wilderness, casting long shadows over the rugged terrain that had become the heart of the latest Gold Rush. Among the cacophony of heavy machinery, the roars of engines, and the clatter of rocks, Parker Schnibble stood, his eyes narrowed against the glare, scanning the chaotic scene before him. Parker, a seasoned gold miner with years of experience etched into his brow, had built a reputation for his tenacity and relentless pursuit of the precious metal hidden beneath the Earth's surface. He knew every nuance of the game, every pitfall, and every strategy that could mean the difference between striking it rich and going bust. Today, however, his focus was not on his own operation, but on the neighboring claim where Fred Lewis, a relatively new player in the mining arena, was struggling. Fred, a former military man, had approached gold mining with the same discipline and determination that had carried him through years of service. Yet, despite his best efforts, his results were less than stellar. His crew was frustrated, his equipment constantly broke down, and his yields were disappointingly low. Fred had swallowed his pride and asked Parker for help, and Parker, intrigued by the challenge, had agreed to lend his expertise. Parker approached Fred's camp with a measured stride, his boots crunching over gravel and dirt. Fred stood near a massive piece of machinery, his face smeared with grease and frustration, barking orders at his crew. As Parker drew closer, Fred turned, his expression softening slightly with a mixture of relief and trepidation. "Parker, Fred greeted, wiping his hands on a rag. "Thanks for coming." Parker nodded, his sharp eyes taking in the scene. "No problem, Fred. Let's see what we're dealing with." Fred led Parker through the maze of equipment and activity, pointing out various issues and setbacks. Parker listened intently, his mind already working through potential solutions. They stopped near the wash plant, a towering contraption designed to separate gold from dirt and rock. "This thing keeps clogging," Fred explained, frustration evident in his voice. "We've lost so much time trying to fix it." Parker crouched down, examining the machinery. "Your setup is inefficient," he said bluntly. "You're running too much material through it at once. The plant can't handle the volume, so it clogs." Fred frowned, crossing his arms. "But we need to process as much dirt as possible to find the gold." "True," Parker agreed, "but not at the cost of efficiency. It's better to process a smaller amount consistently than to keep stopping and starting. You need to find a balance." Fred nodded slowly, absorbing the advice. Parker stood and motioned for Fred to follow him to the sluice boxes where the gold-laden material was supposed to be captured. The boxes were a mess, water sloshing unevenly and materials piling up haphazardly. "Your sluice boxes need to be level," Parker said, inspecting the setup. "If the water flow isn't even, you're losing gold. It's all about precision, Fred. Gold mining is a game of margins." Fred ran a hand through his hair, exhaling heavily. "I thought I had everything set up right." Parker clapped a hand on Fred's shoulder. "It's a steep learning curve. But you've got the basics. You just need to refine your technique." They continued their tour, with Parker offering insights and suggestions at every turn. He pointed out where Fred's team could be more efficient, how to better maintain the equipment, and the importance of staying organized. Fred listened intently, his respect for Parker growing with each passing minute. As they reached the end of the claim, Parker turned to face Fred. "You've got heart, Fred. That's important. But heart alone won't get you the gold. You've got to be smart, strategic, and always learning. Adapt to the challenges and be ready to change your approach when things aren't working." Fred nodded, determination flickering in his eyes. "I won't let this beat me, Parker. I appreciate your help." Parker smiled, a rare expression for the usually stoic miner. "Good. Now let's get to work. We've got a lot to do." Over the next few days, Parker worked side by side with Fred and his crew, implementing the changes he had suggested. Slowly but surely, the operation began to run smoother. The wash plant clogged less frequently, the sluice boxes captured more gold, and the crew's morale improved as they saw progress. Fred's respect for Parker deepened as he witnessed the results of the expert's advice. He realized that gold mining was as much about strategy and finesse as it was about brute force and determination. Parker's guidance had been invaluable, providing him with the knowledge and confidence he needed to improve his operation. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the last rays of light painted the sky in hues of orange and pink,